Hello, this is Ruth Berednik. I'm the head of the Selective Mutism Treatment Center, and I would like to share with you today how, even in these difficult lockdown times, we can move forward to help our children overcome selective mutism. This corona crisis has cut kids off from their schools, kindergartens, teachers, and friends, and that is challenging for everyone. But it presents a special difficulty for kids with social anxiety and selective mutism. This is true on two levels: their relationships with their teachers and with children their age. They might have built up friendships gradually, cautiously, and now there's this long break. And what about their relationship with their teachers? Any communication that has developed is now cut off for we don't know how long. My work with kids in lockdown, the world over the past months, has shown that not only can social communication be maintained, but progress can be made in building social communication with teachers and peers during lockdown. This is how. Using the chat platforms online, and that could be anything available: Zoom, FaceTime, WhatsApp, WeChat. Build a desensitization ladder of small steps that takes your child or teen gradually to improved social communication. This can be done simultaneously with teachers and with peers, with kids. Let me explain how. Let's start off with a ladder for teachers. And I'm going to show you an example that I've used with an 11-year-old boy. Let's call him Johnny. Johnny currently doesn't talk with teachers and talks to a couple of close friends very quietly in school and more freely outside school. So let's have a look at the table that I made for him at this gradual exposure step ladder. So this is, of course, made for Johnny, and I'm giving you examples, but you have to fit the desensitization program for your child or teen. So these are ideas, and the general strategy can be good for any child, wherever they are. But of course, it has to be based on their current functioning, with whom they do and do not talk to, and of course, how they respond to each individual intervention. But let me give you a couple of examples. This first one with Johnny and his teacher. So again, I've written week 1, 2, 3, 4, but it could all happen within 1 week if you do it every day, or it could happen over a longer period of time. I like to try to make any intervention not more than 4 weeks when you're talking about a teacher or a peer, because that is something that is maintainable. Otherwise, the feeling of commitment can wear thin. So, of course, you need a meeting with a teacher and explain to him this intervention, and perhaps show to him or her this video. The idea is that the teacher, in the first week, the teacher sends a WhatsApp audio message on Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday evening with a question, and Johnny sends his answer in the morning. So for older kids, it could be that the teacher asks every Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday for the child to read something, read a short passage, a few sentences, and send it in a WhatsApp audio or any other way of sending an audio message or video. And for younger children, you might ask, tell me what you ate for supper last night. And the child will, or what you're currently eating for supper, and the child will look at his plate and say, I'm eating scrambled eggs and chips and cucumbers, and sends it to his teacher. And that's for the first stage, the first week, or let's say the first 3 times. And then the second week, you take it up 1 level. So the first week is an important stage because the teacher is hearing Johnny's voice. So the second stage, Johnny sends a WhatsApp audio 3 times a week. The teacher sends Johnny a WhatsApp audio message Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday evening with a question, and Johnny sends his answer the next morning, whether it's reading or saying what they ate for supper or what the weather is or any other. It's the voice, it's exposure to the voice that counts. Now, how to take it up one level the second week or second stage, in a Zoom meeting on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, the teacher meets Johnny like we are meeting now, they have a joint video meeting, and the teacher listens to the recording of Johnny. So they're just listening to it together. And that is a really wonderful way of Johnny hearing his voice when the teacher is there. So it's very, very close. It's self-modeling. It's very close to Johnny actually talking to the teacher. He hears himself speak and he sees the teacher there. Now, the next stage could be, this could happen the following week. So that could happen 3 times a week. Then the following week, the teacher again sends Johnny a WhatsApp audio message Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday. Johnny sends his answer. And then in the Zoom meeting on Monday, the teacher plays the recording to Johnny and they listen to it together. Johnny's already used to this from the previous week. And then the teacher could ask a forced choice, obvious question based on what Johnny had said in the recording. For example, was the first word you read Jack or Jane? So the teacher is giving 2 options. And Johnny doesn't have to look for the right option. He remembers that little passage that he sent was about Jack. So when he's asked, was the first word you read Jack or Jane? That is a great way of moving from listening to the recorded voice of Johnny to hearing him live. Now you could also ask, could you read that first sentence to me again? And see if Johnny can read that first sentence. Now it's very important to use the 5-second rule. To ask the question, look away and wait 5 seconds. Give the child time to answer. Then if he doesn't answer, ask it again and just look down and wait another 5 seconds. So if this goes according to plan, by the 3rd week, Johnny will be talking to the teacher. I can't stress enough how important it is to do this at least 3 times a week. And we're talking about a 5-10 minute, very, very short intervention. If you do it regularly, 5 to 10 minutes a day or 3 times a week, that's the minimum I would say, then so often I see significant progress. And then the 4th week, you do all that you did in week 3. You listen to the recorded message together on Zoom, and then you ask a forced choice question and wait 5 minutes. And then you can take it up one step. You play a game requiring minimal speech. It could be I Spy, Guess Who, Hangman. I'm going to talk a little bit more about these kinds of games shortly. So that is a really incredible way of helping a child move from silence to speech during lockdown while staying in your own apartment or home. And I just can't tell you how many times I have helped people do these interventions which have significantly helped children over this time. I know it's a bit complicated. At the end of this video, you might want to look at it again, and you might want to have a consultation with me and to think how to fit this to your child. But let's look at another way of doing it, which I've just started with another young client. They're the same principles, but it's a different kind of method. And I felt that this was more suitable to another young client that I'm working with. And it's beginning with a group of boys. So in this case, let's say if Johnny talks to 2 other children, let's say Guy and Julie, then you could do an intervention with them. So in this second way of helping a child move forward, talking to his teacher. Initially, the teacher requested from the whole class to send audio WhatsApps where they're reading a short passage. So with younger children, of course, it wouldn't be reading. It could be saying what they eat for supper, or games they play, or who's in the home with them, or what's the weather, or any kind of request. And this teacher asked all of the children in the class to send themselves reading a short passage. And then the teacher invited Johnny, Guy, and Julie to meet with him on Zoom 3 times a week, and said that they're in charge of preparing a quiz for the class, which we sent to the class online. So the teacher is having a meeting with Johnny, Guy, and Julie. Johnny talks to Guy and Julie, doesn't talk to the teacher. So in the first meeting with the teacher and the children, the teacher started by playing the recorded reading passage all 3 kids had sent. So that was bringing Johnny's voice into this live Zoom session. And when he heard the 3 children reading, I think in his case it was something from Harry Potter, and a very short passage, but that actually brought Johnny's voice to this Zoom meeting. And then he said something mild like, oh, that's really good reading. Keep it up. Try and read every day, to all 3, not just to Johnny. Then the teacher explained the idea of making a quiz and then said, okay, I've got some work to do, so you get on with it alone. And he switched off his camera, and he'd already given instructions what the quiz was about, what kind of questions, and he allowed Johnny to talk with Guy and Julie, with whom he talks, allowing them to talk without seeing him. And then after they're ready, the teacher comes back on, puts on his camera again, or perhaps he doesn't switch on his camera, and asks the 3 boys to read their quiz questions. Now, if Johnny can't do it in the presence of the teacher could ask the boys to read their questions without him, and he'll record it. And then the next time they meet, they could play the video of the quiz. The teacher could play the video of the quiz. And if it's okay with Johnny, he could even send the quiz to all the class. And this is fantastic exposure. Of course, everything has to be done sensitively and with a feeling that this is okay with Johnny at this stage. But not to be too scared. As long as you're sensitive, noticing Johnny's response, if he's a tiny bit uncomfortable, but he can still do it, that's okay. So this could be repeated weekly. These children are the quiz team over the Corona period, and gradually, in all likelihood, Johnny would start talking in the presence of the teacher. And once that happens, the teacher could generalize. That is, to ask forced choice questions that we mentioned early on, or to play a short game like I Spy, Taboo, Hangman, Guess Who. The last 3 are online interactive apps, which are such fun to do, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about this soon. So how can you help your child to talk to other children during the Corona lockdown when they aren't going to school or the park or generally meeting others? So many kids are starting to talk to peers in this trying time through online platforms. And there are many apps that are interactive, and you can choose a few that you think your child would like. As I said, Hangman, Guess Who, Taboo, Story Wheel, trivia quizzes, so many others. Look up on Google, 2 people online games, and the list is never ending. Now, download these games, try them out, play those games with your child so he feels comfortable and competent playing them. And then arrange a virtual play date, perhaps with someone with whom he talks, and help them play together. Then arrange a play date, perhaps with someone with whom he hasn't talked, and together with someone whom he does talk, if that's possible, and play the game. So often these can be the first words spoken to new people from the comfort of their home, in their pajamas, unseen. Say they're playing Guess Who. They might say, "Does your person have white hair?" So that's a fabulous way to help children broaden the group of people with whom they can talk, even during lockdown. It's also very valuable to video your child frequently and send videos to people she agrees to send them to, teacher, grandma, friends, so she gets used to being heard by others. And do use this time by having as many online face-to-face meetings with people with whom your child does speak. Before we finish, I want to share with you a short clip of a child that a parent sent me. This is a child with selective mutism chatting with a friend on a tablet, which is just being put nearby on a chair. So let's take a look at this. Hold on a sec. Let me see how I can do this. Let me share the screen. There we go. So take a look at this. This is just gorgeous.
No, it's morning. Okay, so wait, Daddy was the and then he went by getting and then he comes home and then the mom wakes up and then the baby
Do you see this little girl with selective mutism is just chatting with a friend on a tablet. The tablet is just on a chair next to a doll's house, and that is gorgeous. So that is another wonderful way of moving forward and of maintaining. Have informal Zoom chats like this for your child. It's so important for them to keep up their social interaction with friends. Now, of course, these are ideas and fit the general theories of gradual exposure, but they have to be applied to each individual child, considering his or her personal current level of functioning and the kind of state he or she is in. And of course, you have to consider each stage, how the child responded to the previous stage, and then just make sure that it's in focus. It's exactly what's needed for as far as you can guess for the next step. So review this video and see if you understand it, and if you can feel you can build this kind of intervention for your child, and then meet with your teacher online or on the phone, or contact the parents of your child's peers and set up this kind of intervention. Anybody who would like to send questions is invited to send questions, and I'll try to answer them. And of course, if you'd like a consultation to tailor this kind of intervention, also send me a message and I will get back to you. So I hope this has been helpful, and I wish you all good health and the strength not only to get through this really, really terrible challenge, but to be able to come out the other end and look back and say, wow, we managed to help our child or teen move forward towards improved social communication.